you have to train your mind to overcome the fear, the anxiety, right? But also to take a step out of the physical body as well.
Okay, guys, so for this week's guest, what I did is I took his LinkedIn and I put it in ChatGPT and asked ChatGPT to come up with a intro for me. And this is what ChatGPT came up with. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, get ready to be inspired by our next guest on the podcast. He's a driven entrepreneur with a passion for real estate and business development. His key investment goal is to expand his real estate portfolio and achieve an additional $50 by 2025. He has successfully managed multiple businesses, including a senior care home, a barbershop, and marketing and sales activities for 14 Caribbean markets. He is constantly seeking to make a positive impact and enhance his leadership skills, as evidenced by his plans to start an Executive MBA program at IVEY Business School, which he already started, by the way. Please welcome our next guest, my big brother and role model, entrepreneur on a mission to make a difference in the world, Mr. Jaeson Patron.
What an intro.
Yeah. So
you got it from ChatGPT?
Yeah. So I just
dope.
I just put your name into ChatGPT and that's what came up.
So how'd you get my resume?
Oh no, I just copy and paste from LinkedIn.
Okay.
Yeah. Just get something on LinkedIn and copy it and paste it. So today we wanna have a discussion, and in today's discussion we wanna talk about we're actually gonna be talking about health. We're gonna talk about health, the connection between physical and mental health. Is there even a connection? I know off the bat everyone is gonna be like, yeah, definitely is a connection. But in terms of evident proof of it being a connection, not just scientific proof, but like it working in people's lives, I still feel like a lot of people go to the gym to look good, and they don't realize how certain things that they do could affect the way they think. So it's not just about going to the gym, because going to the gym is not enough when it comes to health, right? And it's not just about that. It's about doing things that make you happy and putting you into a place where exercise is therapy for your body.
100%.
I know that earlier this year, well, even last year, I know you guys started a polar dip. CTV News was putting you guys on and that kind of stuff. And I think one of the reasons why they actually put you guys on, because as anyone else was, they were surprised that a black guy was doing polar dips. So I think it was a special story, and CTV actually scored there. But yeah. So
no, it's funny that you said that, because I know we're going to dive into the mental health and stuff like that as well. But when we started the polar dip, right, I feel like I could see a big change, a big impact on my body, right? But like sometimes I was just thinking about it. I was just sitting there and I was like, okay, how many people? Because whenever someone finds out from what someone hears that, oh, these guys are going to polar dips, their first reaction is like, oh, these guys are crazy. That's nuts, For me, the reason that I started was more on a mental level, to kind of keep that equilibrium and exactly what you spoke about that connection between the mind and the body. But then also, I think another aspect of that you didn't mention just now was also spirituality as well. So hopefully we can talk about all of those things. But either way, with regards to the polar dips, so sometimes I was thinking about it and I'm like, okay, let's see how much people on average you think do polar dips. Let's just say, let's call a random number. This does not have to be accurate. In Canada, let's just say.
Like how many people?
That you know.
Oh.
Let's just say what you know then.
2.
So I was just thinking to myself, right? And I was like, man, okay, let's just say 100,000 people do it. It's most likely going to be way less than that, because we were doing it every single week, right? And then I said, okay, of those 100,000 people, how many of them are Caribbean? and then said, okay, how many of them might be black? And sometimes when you make those mental notes, then you realize, and like just based on that little calculation, it's like, and that's just a basic, it's not accurate at all, but it's like, okay, literally, just based on that calculation alone, it's like point zero something percent, right? And when you look at that, perspective is so important, because when you break it down like that, it's like, oh wow, this actually a big deal, because while I was doing it, I was so focused on getting, you know, getting my mental right. It's weird because everyone thinks that I love doing it. That's not something that I don't wake up in the morning and be like, oh, it's minus 30, let's go take a swim, or let's go sit in the lake. I don't do that, but I made a commitment. I said, for the entire winter, this is what I'm going to do. Every Saturday morning at 6 a.m., we're going to get to the water and we're going to jump into the water. And that's where the spirituality and stuff like that come into, and even energy, right? Because then we started doing that. And then the first time we went, it just happened to be that we went to this specific lake. We did not intend on going there. And so we jump in and then we leave. And then we were going back through the video and we're like, who's this? There's this random lady that's following us. And she was recording. It's just like, that's kind of strange. It's like minus 15 out or something. And anyway, as time went along, we realized that she'll be there every single weekend. And then we became friends and stuff like that. And she was actually the person that was posting us up onto her Twitter. And at the time we didn't know, so it was starting to get a lot of traction. And I don't think it's just because of the color of my skin alone, but it's just that in this area, I don't think there was anyone else that was doing anything like that, you know. But yeah, for me it was that, okay, I made up my mind that this is what I'm going to do for the entire winter. Every single day I was doing cold showers every single day, and then every Saturday I'll go to the lake. It doesn't matter which one, because we went to a couple different ones. We shot a few things too, but every Saturday morning, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm going to be doing, and I just made sure and committed to that.
Yeah, and I remember it's funny that you talk about the lady that you guys saw, because I remember the first time that you guys went and you guys came back, and you was talking about it, and you were like, oh, this lady came out, but we don't know who she was, or so at the point you guys at the time you guys thought it was like private property or something like that, and she came out, and yeah, but that's amazing, because I could never do it. I know I did a couple cool showers in my house during that time, but only because I was like, I don't know, if these niggas doing it, I might as well try at least one time, but it wasn't for me like I think is one of those things where you have to be mentally ready, and mentally prepared for it, right? And you have to know why you're doing it. Like, I wouldn't, because I don't want to be here to be like a lot of the other people on Instagram and try to be like David Goggins and be like, oh, we need to do 500 miles and go in the sauna and then jump in ice water, and because to me it's like so much people preach about it, but they do it for look at me, it's never like, oh, I'm thinking about my spirit, or or I could lose weight from it, or this could make me live. But I feel like most people don't think about health and your mental and your spiritual and how it affects everything. Like this week I was talking to one of my friends who was having some obvious health issues. Sorry. Don't worry, when we get money, we will get to song proof this. But yeah, so this week I was talking to one of my friends who's having obvious health issues, and I was telling her that I don't want a song. What's the word I'm looking for? Like when everybody say one thing. Okay, I don't want a song repetitive, but health your health is your wealth. And what I mean by that is that, yeah, your health is your wealth, and we say that all the time, but your health is like your wealth. That's why I told her. It's like, a lot of people don't like to check the bank account because they're like, oh, I'm scared that they're going to have $0 in it. Or I don't want to check my credit because I'm scared that my credit will be low. But you checking it not going to affect it. You not checking it, you can't help. Right? So when you don't check on your health, you don't know what to fix, right? So then one day you could just get a heart attack, and it's something that happened to me this year, well, last year and stuff. I was suffering with high blood pressure, and no doctor could figure out why, like why I was suffering with high blood pressure and that kind of stuff. And then this year, and that's a whole story on its own too, but this year I decided that I'm going to take it serious. Um, After a dream I had with Jada, actually. I had a dream where I saw Jada and she was older. And I knew it was her because in dreams you always know what you see,
Yeah.
even though it's not the person. And she was older and she was in college and she was in a dorm room by herself and she was crying. And when the way she was crying, I knew that she was crying because I was gone, and by the looks of it, I was gone for a while. It happened when she was young, but she was at a stage in her life where she needed her dad, and I wasn't there. And then I started to think about that I wouldn't be there for them because of decisions that I make. So I stopped drinking and I started exercising and that kind of stuff, and my blood pressure came all the way down. And then I started to see, okay, well, this is more about and nothing motivated me more than that. Like me looking good, obviously, you know. Even when people say, "Oh, Vaughn, you look good now," that didn't even motivate me, right? What motivated me the most was me seeing my blood pressure coming down and me being like, "Okay, I'm gonna be able to be here for a longer time with my kids."
Yeah. Yeah, I get that, man. Like, I feel like it's different for everybody, you know. So you said that came to you in a dream?
Yeah,
That came to you in a dream. So I think that what I I experienced is that, as I said, it happens different for everybody. But it's good that, you know, you saw that and you tried to make a change, because the only thing constant is change, right? You can't be you're over 30, like, life is changing. You have a family now. You just had a kid, and in order for you to progress, uh, there must be some sort of change. Be it that you change your diet or change the time that you're waking up, or the time that you need to make some sort of change. Some people more drastic than others, and that's maybe a drastic one, your dream. But that's probably what had to happen to kind of wake you up, because like now I can see that you go to the gym every single day. Like, you see no big change in your body. You was on your treadmill for an hour today. So sometimes these things have to happen, and in order for you to kind of see life from a different view,
yeah,
they said that there's another scene. They said that crazy, the definition of crazy, is doing the exact same thing but expecting a different result,
yeah,
right? And I think that a lot of people go about life in a way that, man, life is so abundant, life is so pure. There's so much, like, different energies and all these things, like your interaction with people. I feel like if you remain the same while in a world where everything about around you is revolving, you just pulled up a quote, something that you got off of Chat GPT, you know? So if you remain the same and you have the same exact mindset that you had 10 years ago, or the same lifestyle, and you really break it down, because when you look at lifestyle, you're talking about so many different things, right? It could be health, it could be your what you eat, it could be family, and all. You could break it down to like different subsets, right? But I feel like one of the best things that you could do is be open to change and understand that everything happens, or is happening around you, is happening for a reason. And you just have to kind of elevate yourself and take a step back into a bit of introspection. Because if you had that dream and you're like, oh well, that's just another dream. Bye. Like, but no, you did a bit of introspection because nowhere in that dream did they say, well, at least from what you said, they didn't say, oh, eat properly or do this or do that. But you start to look at your life in a way like you take a step back and it's like, wow, maybe my health isn't where ideally it should be, right? And you started working on yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just like baby steps. Go to the gym once a week. Start with once a week. Change your diet. But change something because everything else around us is changing. And if you're not evolving too and adapting to that change, then you're gonna be lost.
Yeah. And one of the things that I did realize too is like, even with me not drinking anymore, right? It wasn't even like I never made a decision to be like, I'm not going to be drinking no more. It never happened. All that happened is that one night I went and I bought a shandy, right? And I drank one, and then the next night I drank the next one, and then eventually I realized that I went 2 weeks without drinking. Then I went a month without drinking.
This man's an alcoholic.
And then and that's the thing where I wasn't even an alcoholic. I just used to, once I'm editing and I work a lot, bro. Mm-hmm. So like, especially when I'm home and I'm editing, I'll mix like one drink and I will drink, and then it went on for a while, and then I just tell myself, when I checked my blood pressure and I saw that it was down, I was like, you know what? I'm not saying I'm not going to drink no more, but I'm not going to... if I go to occasion and I have one drink, that's one thing, but I'm not going to drink every night, right? And going back to my second episode with Brandon, I told myself that I can't promise I'll never drink again, but I know I'm not going to drink tomorrow. And that's all I'm looking for. I think one of the biggest sparks too, because you're talking about family, is that you have to have people in your corner that blunt enough to tell you something and hurt your feelings. So I remember my mom is a nurse and a midwife, and I'm sure that I'm going to have her on an episode sometime soon because it will be really cool. She has a lot of wisdom like that.
Yeah.
So I remember she was talking to me about my blood pressure and taking it serious and that kind of stuff. And she looked at me and she told me, let's just hope that when you get a heart attack, that you die. Because that's the best case scenario.
Oh.
So then I'm like...
That's deep.
Yeah. I'm like... I was like, wait, what? She's like, no, let's just hope. She's like, one, I'm not playing. Mm-hmm. Let's just hope that if anything was to happen to you, that you die. Because when you die, at least your family could move on. If something happens to you and you get a heart attack or a stroke and you do die, now your wife had to give up her life for you to be wiping your ass, right? Your kids will want to think twice before they move to college. Your whole life gonna be different. So let me just hope that when it happens, that you die. So at least you only impact you impact your family same way, right? But at least we could move on. And all these things is things that made me have that dream. For instance, right? It's like I knew at that time, bro, I was gonna die, bro. Like I was like my blood pressure was like 165. 165 or 120. The doctors couldn't figure out why. It's like, why my blood pressure? I stopped taking my meds. That's one thing I forgot to say. I stopped, like right now I'm on no meds. I stopped taking my meds. I started taking my health serious. I started making time for the gym, even if it's 4 times a week, and it's no pressure. Like I don't give myself any pressure. If I can't make it to the gym, I can't make it to the gym. If I have work to do editing and I can't edit, I don't edit, bro. I make sure and take time, because just like we go to the gym 4 times a week, you need to spend time 4 times a week in the mental gym where it's just you and you're being spiritual and you get to the place where you go through every single emotion that you have, and you cry. You cry by yourself, you laugh by yourself, you go through pain by yourself.
You just get to know yourself.
You get to know yourself. And I think that's what the ice baths actually used to help with, is because when you're in the ice and you want to take your mind away from the pain, your mind goes to places that deep, and writing was my therapy, you know, and I know that the ice baths and the gym was your therapy, and you just have to figure out what is your therapy.
Exactly.
But
It's different for everybody, man. And that's the thing, right? Like, somebody might look at me and say, oh, you do this and, but it's different for everybody. You can find your therapy. Your therapy might be going for a jog or going for a walk or spending time with your son, or like, it could be anything, you know? But you just have to find what works for you. And everyone's situation is different, right? It was your health or whatever it is. But you mentioned something to me that I just want to go back on. You spoke about what our mom said to you. And I was reading this book. It's called The Way of the Superior Man. And I forgot the author. So I'll remember the author and we put it in the description below. Okay. But either way, one of the things that he was talking about in the book is that as men, we should have a men group, or even a one-on-one that you could talk to, and we be honest with each other. So it doesn't have to be a group. It could be one person. He recommended a group, right? But I was thinking about that, and that's so important. Especially, I feel like as men, we keep so much things inside of us. And you even spoke about, getting on top of those emotions and being able to express that emotion and, let's feel those emotions, right? Because we all have different emotions, and a lot of those emotions we suppress as men, And so what he's saying is, you get a group, and
especially as black men.
And exactly, especially as black men. So we have, let's say we have a group, or even if it's a one-on-one, and every week you have a check-in call. Be it 15 minutes, 30 minutes, depends on how many people in the group or whatever it is, right? You could do one-on-one, maybe preferable in that situation. But on that call, you guys all meet up or whatever, you guys basically talk about a problem. So, okay, this is a problem that I'm facing right now, and you try to solve it. And a lot of times that the person that you're doing it with should be open and blunt with you. So they should give you the kind of feedback that our mom gave you in that type of way, because that's the reality of it. Most people like things sugar-coated, and I get it. It's 2023, we should sugarcoat stuff, but sometimes you need to, some people need the reality of stuff, and the reality of that, your situation is that, I'm guessing what she's trying to say to you is that it could be bad. You need to take after yourself and check up on your health, and because life is short, man.
Yeah.
Life is short.
I actually feel like a lot of the like her telling me that was more her worried, and telling me the worst case scenario, so that I can make a change, so now is different. Now is like honestly, I only checked my blood pressure this week, right? And when I checked it and it was down, I went and I did so much things with the kids, because to me at that point it was like, bro,
make you happy.
I'm gonna be here, dog. I'm gonna be here. Like, all of a sudden, a bunch of other things that I thought was stressful didn't become stressful. It's, oh yeah, trying to do all these things. One of the reasons I used to work hard a lot was because I actually thought I was gonna die. I was like, I'm gonna die soon, so I need to work as hard as I could so I could get where I wanna be. I went and get life insurance, and I'm like, you know what? Get rich or die trying for real. So I'm gonna chase my dreams, and if worse comes to worse, the kid's gonna be straight anyway, And then when I started seeing this change, it's like, okay, and that's why I went this morning and do an hour cardio, because now I see, okay, my heart is not that my heart bad, is that I was doing the wrong things to my heart.
Habits.
So, exactly, it's habits. So now I was like, oh, so I have a healthy heart, so let me make this heart healthier, right? Let me do cardio, even though I don't like doing cardio. Let me put. All I did was put on some YouTube videos about to learn more about cameras or shooting, And I just watched that. And then I watched one. And I was like, my goal this morning, honestly, was to do 10-minute cardio. That was it, 10 minutes. I put on a video. After the video was done, I realized it was 14 minutes. I was like, okay, I can't end on 14. I might as well go to 15. So let me pull up a next video. Then when I was done that one, it was like 23 minutes. I was like, okay, I need to end on a 5 or a 0.
Yeah.
You know? And then eventually, when I reached the 30, I was like, okay, I'm done. And then on the treadmill came up, you're 50% there. I'm like, bro, let's do this, bro. You know, I put on the next video and I watched that video. I keep watching videos. I realize that if I'm learning, I don't think about the pain or the stress of me walking. I'm learning, you know? And that's what helped me get to the point. So it wasn't me being like, you know, I go and be this guy who go and take my health serious. And every single time when I started going to the gym, it was stress. I hated it. I used to go home and tell Christy, I don't know how somebody could like the gym. But now I see why people could like the gym. It's not about your body. If you go to the gym for your body, you would never like the gym.
Exactly.
You would go because you want a nice body. 'Cause I remember telling it to Savio, and Savio was like, oh, I don't think people like the gym. They just like having a nice body. But when you go for your body, you don't care. It's your body. But when you realize the effect on your mind and how that making you think strong and think brave, then you're like, oh, this gym thing is meditation.
100%. Man, like, so coming to the end of winter, so like late March, there was a lot going on in my life at that time. Like I just started school and like a bunch of other things that was happening. And so I'll say about 6 months before that, I started working out every day for 5 days a week, right? But we at first we used to go at 4 a.m. Then we started going at 4:30, and now we go at 5. And everyone would be like, man, you're crazy. This is crazy. No, but that's exactly what you're saying. A lot of people go to the gym for their body. Okay, they want to look good, and that's okay. That's a very superficial way of looking at it. But like when I'm done at the gym, so let's say when I went at 4 a.m. So I wake up at 3, pray, meditate, spend some time by myself, go to the gym at 4 a.m. I'm done at 5:30. The sun isn't up. The sun isn't up yet. Get home, get some work done, wake up my kids at I wake my kids up at 7:30 at the time. At 7:30, get them ready for 8, drop them to school. By the time it's midday, my day is more or less done. Like I feel like my day is more or less done, you know? And when I'm done at the gym, I'm so much more, I feel like refreshed, so much, very energetic, right? And I mentioned the March thing because when I was going through what I was going through, I didn't go to the gym for almost 6 weeks. And I honestly felt like I was just almost like I was depressed. Like I was just going through having a really hard time, trying to balance school and life and everything that was going on. And then one day I was like, no, like enough is enough. I'm going to start back working out. And when I started back working out, my energy level just like skyrocketed. I felt like that was the best I felt in a while. And that was the first time I was at the gym. Of course, I was sore the next day, but you know, so there's a lot of things that come to when you go into the gym. But I feel like it also comes down to like, you know, being deliberate. I feel like you should have a goal, right? Write down your goals and be deliberate about it because it all ties in. Like the gym is not just your body alone. It could be your body and mind. The polar plunges, at least that's for me, that's not just sitting down in cold water. That's literally mastering your mind. Because when you walk into that water and it's already minus 16 or minus 20 and you go into that water, man, from the time you start stepping into that water, it's like nails into your body, into your feet. And then you sit there. But you have to train your mind to overcome the fear, the anxiety, right? But also to take a step out of the physical body as well, right? Stress. When you go into that water, there's nothing. It's just survival mode, and it's crazy that how your body works, because you have to do it to like experience it's a thrill to it too. But it's crazy because you could be stressed, you could have anything going on, but when you get into that water, your body just naturally clicks. And for me, I started realizing, I was like, wow, like I never thought I could do something like that, you know? And because everyone around is like, oh, this is so hard and this, and, you know, and that's, man, like, you got to be careful who you talk to, because everybody that I spoke to that say, oh, it's so hard and this, none of them ever did it, you know? So think about that, like put that towards your goals. If you have a goal, right? You have a goal, you're trying to be the most successful or producer in London or Canada, the world, whatever your goal is, right? And have a successful film studio. But if all your friends around you are like, oh, you can't do that, no, do it this way. No. Why? Why you can't do that? Because you can't see that I could do that. So basically, you're judging me based on the vision that you see of me in your mind, not about what I see in my mind, you know? And man, to me, I feel like that was one of the best experiences and one of the best choices that I made. You know, I know it was at an older age, but I'm happy that I made that decision, and I'm going to continue doing it even through the summer, and again next winter, and I'll continue doing that, because we haven't even spoken about, maybe when we get my friend on board, Garrett, then we'll talk about even there also health benefits to the polar plunges. Yeah. But I'm just speaking like in general.
Mental.
That's the whole mental. Like it could be running. For some people it's just going to take a run, go biking, you know. Some people hug trees. It's like you just have to find something that's good for you and just do it.
1 second. Let me check this camera, because it does shut off sometimes. I'll cut out all the story. I know that, you see. The camera does just cut.
How much time you on so far?
I didn't realize, that one was longer, to be honest. I thought it was just one.
It's okay. Once this one go in, I have something. This one is just, I could cut out.
You know what channel is on? Nobody tell me to find it.
No, it's okay. We're just going for like 25 minutes or something.
I think so.
Yeah.
The exact time, hold on.
Eh?
No, that's okay.
Exact time. Yeah. Half an hour.
Yeah. Okay, so did you watch the Arnold Schwarzenegger documentary?
No.
We should watch it tomorrow in the shop. Because everything that you speaking about right now, he speaks about, right? Because he was Arnold, right? Mm-hmm. And like I always knew that he was who he was. Like the 6 rules of success that he described made much more sense now that you watch the documentary. Because at first it was 6 rules of success. He could get a writer to write this. But when you actually see the documentary and see how he was, bro, like where he grew up, and he had to put himself in things, and he would see things that his family couldn't see. Like he would say something like when he was younger, he was being abused, but he didn't see the abuse as that my family didn't love me. He see the abuse as, this is not my family. It's like, my family is a family in America. I need to be in America. Bro, and he did what he had to do to reach where he reached, bro, and the things that he went through. And he spoke about that. He said, and 50 Cent said the same thing. Depression is a privilege because you have time to think about your feelings, right? And most people, especially people that was busy. So Arnold Schwarzenegger said, he would just stay in the gym exercising. He's like, he had no time. His dad, his brother died in a car accident. His dad died a couple months or a couple years after. When it hit. That's the only thing, right? When it hit
eventually.
Yeah, when it hit.
Eventually.
So you have to deal with it. Some go. That's why I tell people all the time, they should. What I do is that I invite depression. So when I talk about meditation on Sundays or wherever day you choose or wherever way you decide to meditate. But just know that to meditate, it needs to be it has steps to it. It could be anything, but it has to have steps. You can't say, oh, going to the club to meditate. This is my meditation. That's not meditation. That's you trying to escape, right? But we will talk about that next time. So meditation now is me paying myself is taking on my depression. So then Christy will come and be like, "One, you look sad." Then she'll be like, "Oh no, you're going through whatever." At the start of our relationship, she used to think that "Oh, it's me? Is it me?" It's like, no, it's not you. It's just something I had to put myself through so that I could be happy. For me to be happy, I had to deal with all these other depressing stuff. I had to think about, oh, I'm working so hard and I ain't getting where I want to get as yet. I'm doing this and I ain't doing this. Or how come that person never support me? I was like, I start taking everything away from people, right? Is that I did not reach where I want to reach because this person didn't give me opportunity. It's like, oh, this person didn't give you opportunity. Okay, I know why. I know why you didn't give me an opportunity, because God wanted to give me the opportunity for himself. So let me figure out how we go and do this. To me, it was always like me coming back to, this is a me thing. I need to solve this. For me, it's always like I don't want to put my burden on somebody else that don't deserve that burden, especially when this person trying to do me a favor. Mm-hmm. So let me take all the burdens, and if I could take people pain, I'll take people pain too, because I know I could rinse it, But it just go back to what you was talking about with finding time and understanding that your mind is way more powerful than your body.
Man, your mind is way more powerful than you think too. It's like I learned something when I started school, right? And just talking to people, and I realized that. Well, this is when it hit me. It's like, you know yourself, right? But there's also parts of you that you don't even know yet, that you haven't tapped into. And that's why I wouldn't say it's like facing your depression only, but it's like facing all of your emotions. Like a few days ago, I was taking my son to school, to daycare, right? And every time I go to daycare, he has, so there's like different emotions that he could stick up on and stick on next to his picture. And it will just depend on how he's feeling. If he's happy, if he's sad, if he's angry, or whatever it is. And he put angry or something like that. He put angry. So I was like, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to express yourself if you're angry. Like, because we need to regulate our feelings too. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like as men, we aren't trained to do these things. And for my son and my daughter, like, I want them to be able to express themselves, and get to understand this feeling, this, I'm angry, I'm happy. Because most times we say, oh, you're happy, or you're sad. But it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be anxious, right? It's okay. Go through those feelings, take a step back, and see. Just look at yourself. Look at your situation. Because the more we keep putting these things off and saying, oh, and ignoring this, ignoring that, it's going to come back.
Yeah.
It's going to come back at some point. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. And as they was talking about that as well, I feel like, especially as black men, bro, like, honestly, nothing in this world taught me about emotions as much as Jada did. And the person who I am now and the person who I was before Jada was two completely different people. And when I say before Jada, I don't mean like the day she was born. Like, it's not like, it wasn't like, oh, I have a daughter now, let me change. It was when she could talk. Because when she could talk, I had to be emotional. And you see, COVID was one of the best things that happened to me as a dad and as a human being. Because at that point in time, bro, I had to have conversations about my feelings with Jada. And it's something that I didn't even want to have. It's something that I was like, but I had to do, like I was even talking to Gian this week about emo. Our parents and the people who was older around us, they did what they had to do for us to survive, and we had to understand that, right? When we grew up in a time where showing emotions was weak, especially for black men. We had to be strong. We had to bear the load of the village, and still, I remember being a kid and listening to Michael Jackson. Will you be there when he's like, and they told me a man should be faithful and walk when not able and fight to the till the end, but I'm only human. And that line didn't make more sense to me until I was a dad. And talking about emotions, and then Jada telling me, Dad, you really hurt my feelings. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, she has emotions that I never even tap into for myself. And me going to, like for instance, I did a wedding this weekend, and it was a white couple, white family. And so much people there was crying. And it was weird to me because I never seen so much emotion like crying in a wedding, Or one time I had somebody who died, and all his friends was hugging him, and I was just there in the back. I was like, "Cause we don't hug each other. Like even me telling my mom till this day, Mommy, I love you. She'd be like, boy, mom to you, boy, mom to you, And it's not even her fault. It's that she know that we love her, and I know that she love us. She don't have to tell us every day, but it's something that I accept from her. But because of what they fight for, right? Now our kids are like, oh no, we ain't doing that. We go and do the emotional game.
Yeah, I think a lot of it too. A big part of it is also the country that the time, but also we grew up. This is a different country. This is
Yeah.
also like, and it's just a different mentality. But it's good that she could come to you and she could say, hey, like, you hit my feelings or whatever, and then you have to know how to deal with that, right? And it kind of puts you in a position where, you might think to yourself, oh, I'm old and I just got this, but again, it happens different for everybody. Like, thank God that they're young and they're experiencing that, and because of our experiences and our lack, or even our lack of experiences, we're trying our best to make these young, beautiful kids like the best kids that they could be, and really do something impactful. And I think it's also good that they see the things that we do. Sometimes I take that for granted. Like, I'll talk to my son and he'll be like, "Oh, Daddy, is that your barbershop, or are you going to Trinidad? Like, like, what's up with you?" Or my daughter, and she's like, "Oh, the senior came home," or whatever it is. And it's like, the fact that they can see that and they understand that, hey, there's a time for this and there's a time for that, they're starting to learn these things, and we're also learning too. And that's the beauty about it. And that was another part that I got from that book, The Way of the Superior Man. He's talking about living every day to the fullest. Like, let's just say, worst come to worst, you're supposed to pass away tomorrow, or me. It's like, what's gonna happen? No, you want to pass away sad. Like, live every single day to the fullest. Be happy. And I think that in order to truly be happy, they're gonna have times that are, you're sad, or you have all these different emotions, but you have to be able to tap into these emotions and really really allow yourself to go through it. And I feel like that was weird when I was going through it, and it's like, and I still go through it, but for that to change, because again, the only thing constant in life is change. And for that switch for me from, like, let's say something was to happen and I just walk away from the situation, to actually facing it and sitting there and dealing with it, cry if I have to cry, laugh if I have to laugh, be angry, go for a walk, go to the gym, whatever it is, but give or take, I have to deal with this situation, and it also allowed me to learn things about myself, I have like a list of things that I learned about myself, like how do I deal with conflict? What are my communication skills like? How am I as a leader? What type of leader am I? Like, there's so many questions that just by me sitting there and doing that introspection and really seeing what causes what, and asking myself why and these things, and that's going so deep that it literally, I was literally taking my heart and just like, yeah, let's have a knife, like a butter knife, and it's just like, you're trying to slice through, slice through. Like, my heart was just open, and it hurt, but at the same time, I was able to learn and grow, put myself in different. I started looking at everything, man. I was looking at my friends. I was looking at everything, everything, and that's why I was saying to you in the beginning. Sometimes things have to happen for you to see the world from a different perspective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's a big world out here, man. And if you think that, oh, this is the best thing, or there are people out there that are doing a bunch of different things, how are you going to know if you never really take your head up and look around, right? What type of people you hanging out with? Like, who are your friends? Like, all of these things. There's so many different aspects if you're really going to break down.
What health is?
Yeah, and
Yes.
and it's just on an
friendship and
individual level. Again, it's everybody. I think everyone has their own situation, but in order for you to really grasp what's happening or really take a deep dive into that, you have to be able to sit with that pain. So I saw this thing, I saw this video, and it really stuck with me. So they were saying that there are two types of pain. Have you heard about that one?
No.
So there are two types of pain. There's the pain of regret, and there's the pain of discipline. You choose. And that's crazy. Like, if you think about that and you really let that sink in, it's so true. They're both pain. But you see, the disciplined man, right? You could sit there and you could see things and you could say, okay, and you really look forward. So when I see my kids are young. But when I see my kids, I don't look at them at 3 or 5 years old. I see them in the now, yeah. But when I picture them, I'm really looking at them 5, 10 years from now. Where do I want to be 5 years from now? Where do I want my kids to be 5, 10 years from now? And what do I have to do today, now, so that I could get to there? Most people think they will need to go do the hardest thing and climb the biggest tree and, like Jack and the Beanstalk.
Yeah.
Right? No. He just picked there's a thing, so we had there's this leadership class that we're doing, and one of the things that they were talking about, we discussed was, picking the low hanging fruit. So picture this big tree, and it's laden with fruit. If you put that into the context of life, most people will try to go build a ladder so that they get to the top of the tree so they could pick the highest fruit. But there's abundance of fruit right here. You could you could just start. All you need to do is start. Start with the low hanging fruits, and as you get better, you might go up, and and that's kind of the context for me with the discipline. Sometimes we go there, we go to the water and we pull up there, and I'm like, man, it is so cold.
Yeah, I had on my winter jacket shooting it, bro.
I do not want to go into this water right now. And I look at my friend and I'm like, man, like, I don't think I could do this today. And then he look at me and he'd be like, man, I don't want to go either, but we're going to do it. It's like, yeah, we're going to do it. And that's the importance of having somebody.
Yeah, for sure. Because I was even thinking about what you said about discipline and regret. And I feel like discipline is is equivalently value, right? Because discipline is more like stuff that you do every day, or it's like that's discipline, but value is the same, right? Because part of health that people don't really think about is community, like your circle, right? And a lot of people scared to lose their friends when the friends is the ones that have them in the same position every single day. It's like, your friends is like, oh yeah, they all going to be lawyers, and yeah, but they still encourage you in something that they know that you can come back from, but they can come back from because of your energy. So it goes into value. And a lot of the things that you do speak about, because you spoke about, is you said to enjoy every day as it is, and they say the only thing that constant is change. So what we're speaking about here is time, right? So there's this thing this philosophy that I had, and it's basically that time is horizontal. So what's going to happen to me in 5 years is happening right now. It's
Sure.
just that my spirit isn't experiencing that as yet.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
time is experience, right? So how you say, oh, I think about my kids 5 years down the road, and that's because time it is happening as we speak, but our spirit isn't there.
Definitely.
So it's like when people think about time, and it's like, oh, yo, time going up. Like last year I was 30, this year I'm 31. And we always measure time as going up or down. You're either watching your years going up, or you're counting your years coming down. Because every day that we complete, we getting closer to death, if we like it or not, right? But how I see it is that I see time as going to this side. So I enjoy every single moment because it's an experience, even the bad ones. So, and how I came up with this philosophy is that one day I was on a drive with Christy. It was a 4-hour drive. And she was like, oh, I can't believe we have 4 hours to drive. And I'm like, what are you talking about? We're already home. When you reach home, you're going to think about you being on that drive and saying, oh my gosh, I have 4-hour drive. And that time done pass, bro. So the only time we have is right now. What's going to happen, God already decide. It don't matter what decision you make. You could make what he didn't decide, but he knows. He know how we going to die, right? It's already written, as we say. So because of that, it must mean that time goes to the side, right? So your spirit is in this journey now. And then it will leave and go into our next journey. And then it will go into our next body. Even your body is not the same. Like you're not the same person that it was yesterday. I'm sure if we look at every single molecule in your body, we're going to say, oh, okay, this is a different person. He looks the same, but the only reason he looks the same is so that people around him could identify him. And that's why when you try to become something else, people identify as who they know, right? But you became somebody new every day until you reach this person. And then you're like, oh no, guys, I'm not accountant no more. I'm a doctor. It's like, you was not. You're an accountant, bro. You do my account last week. I know I do your account last week, but it's not who I am. But they identify you as a doctor because that's what they see.
Yep. And that's why you need to figure out your purpose. Like, I feel you need to really and truly take some time alone and figure it out. Like, okay, ask yourself some serious questions. Where am I right now? Where am I where I want to be? What are some things that I maybe wanted to do? Like, going out and partying and hanging out with friends, that's all well and good. And yeah, that's part of the experience. But, I mean, I think that you could do a lot better than that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying don't have fun, but really and truly live your life with a purpose, because people will always see you for what they think you are, just as you just said. Until you actually forget about these people and focus on what's in your mind and actually do it. And when you actually do it, these same people gonna turn to you and be like, oh, he changed, oh, this. And you could be the exact same person. Like, for me personally, I feel like my purpose is helping people. That's one of my purposes, right? And I feel like that's just something I like to do. I love doing. I love helping people. And as things go along and you start to progress in life, some of my friends look at me and they like, and they say, "Oh no, Jason, I didn't reach out because of this, or you changed." Or I'm always, I didn't. Of course, I've changed in terms of education or the status. Let's just say, because that's but I'm still the same person. If you reach out to me and you say, "Hey, I need help with this," okay, what do you need help with? Let me check my connections. So maybe I can help you in this way or whatever it is, right? But most people will say, "Oh no, he's changed," or when you're down there with them, it's like, no, this you can't do that. No one has ever done that before. Okay, well, so because no one did it means that I can't do it. Like, is that the value that you see in me? That's
And the most times some people say that your change is like, as you say, talk about the connections and stuff, is that some like people will watch you go through all these stages by yourself and all these stress by yourself, and then come and ask you for a favor to plug them in with your connections and get angry when you say, "Yo, I can't do that."
yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, why you can't do that? We friends." It's like, bro, I work so hard to get these connections, and I could give you these connections to screw it up for me. After you watch me work, you didn't come and help me not one day. Not one day. You was doing your own thing. You was in your job or wherever it was, getting your own money, wherever, and I was watching you getting money while I was doing my thing. But now you want me to pay your own. And it's hard because as a friend, our first instinct is to put them on. But that's the same instinct that could mess up everything first. Because that's what you want. And I remember one time mommy saying, if you don't tell the world who you are, the world will tell you who you are.
Sure.
And it all comes back down to that, understanding who you are and your purpose. And I was writing a book a couple of years ago, and it was called The Diary of a Loner.
You need to finish that, man.
Yeah, and it was basically that. It was basically the idea that everyone needs to go through a stage where they're lonely. I think one of the biggest reasons for immigrants going into any country and building so much stuff is that lonely phase. Is that when an immigrant goes into a country, he's by himself. Most times he is hated on, and then he has to find a way. He's like, okay, I can't just work for them, because if I work for them, I wouldn't get as much results as I want. I need to figure out a way that they have to say yes. So let me start a barbershop or a shawarma place or a double time or something, because that we had to become innovative in that sense to create our own, and it goes back to what I was saying last week as to why I started doing businesses and stuff, was because I realized that you just can't work for people, bro. And I just was like, I need to just figure out myself. I need to spend time by myself, and I need to actually put myself through that pain, and come on from most of my friends. Like, I was talking to one of my friends the other day. I wouldn't say his name because it don't matter. You guys wouldn't even know. But I was talking to him and I was telling him that I realized that I have no friends in Trinidad. I have probably like the one friend. I have like 2 or 3 friends in Trinidad. Like I have Jason, I have Nicholas, and I probably have one more that I don't know. If I didn't forget to call a name, then it means that we didn't talk in a long time. So, other than my family, bro, I realized that I have no friends in Trinidad. Other than these guys who I just called,
That's crazy.
And that's where I grew up. But then I realized that I left Trinidad when I was 18 to go to Tobago. Then I came back to Trinidad. Then I came to Canada. And it was because my whole life I was trying to figure out who I was, and I didn't have time to be around all these people. And even though I had people, when you start to figure out where you're going, you switch your... Bro, in life, I realized that you have three friends. You have three friends in life. You have friends when you're on ground zero. You have friends when you climb on the ladder, and you have friends when you reach to the top. Some of your friends would always roll over, right? So you always have some friends that was from ground zero that make it to the top with you. Hardly ever. You always have some friends that was climbing to the top that make it to the top with you. But most times when you go to the top, you meet a different set of friends, who already had the climb, and they're there now. And then, so that was just it for me, bro. It was always like, I just realized I don't have nobody. Like if I was to go back to Trinidad right now, I'll be lonely.
Yeah, well, I think that that what you just said deep too. It's very deep because that's gonna also have a huge impact on your, like, you know, your life here as well. You know, because like what I spoke about earlier with having a male friend or whatever, somebody that you can talk to, and yeah, that probably is because of the time that you left.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And then Najee died. That he was like my only friend, and so I just realized that, yeah, other than those two people, is that I don't have any friends in Trinidad. And I mean, like, technically I don't really have much friends on the whole. I have a lot of people around me though, but the core friends that I do have, we all understand each other, and we know that we don't see each other every day, or every week or every month, but we know that when we linemen, and I try to keep people around me with good energy, like people who I know could add good things to my life. But what one? Yeah. But in terms of friends in Trinidad, bro, is none. When I go to Trinidad, I go with my family and I go see family.
No, but that's good too because like you don't need. I don't think you need a lot of friends. You just need a couple of people that, you know, that if you need something or what I mean, like if you need to talk or if they need something, that you guys can really rely on each other, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, but I know we're gonna wrap up soon because another thing I was gonna say, talk about it, like the mental health and stuff like that, and what's the other thing was mental health and fitness,
Yeah, like the,
right?
like the connection.
Is that the connection is that I feel like as men, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask for help, okay? And it could be professional, it could be from your friend, professionals in like therapy or whatever. But I feel like just to touch back on that again, I feel we should all take a step back and let's figure out, you know, what am I like, and if it is that I need to go to a professional, most men will think, okay, this is professional, so maybe I have some sort of mental issue or whatever it is, and you just want someone that you could talk to that might be private, even, because there are some people who have friends that they can't even talk to. There's so many empty people, man. Like, you could look at them and you could just see straight through their souls. They're just empty. And that's alarming, man. Like, as men, especially, I feel we need to stop, putting things off and really take a deep dive. Name anybody that that's successful, that you think haven't been through any struggle. They just live a happy, perfect life. Wake up, oh, it's just perfectly sunny every day, and they all do that. But the difference with them is that they go through the pain of discipline so that they don't have to think about the pain of regret. They take that time when they're going through their stuff to figure their things out. Be it that they go to therapy, counseling, drugs, whatever they feel like doing. They deal with it. They dealt with it. And they moved on. And I feel these pains, all of this pain that you're going through, people always say that, this pain will only make you stronger. And that's very vague, in my opinion. Because I would always wonder, okay, why would pain make me strong? But now I understand that pain will make you strong, but you have to be willing to encounter that pain, look that pain, like really and truly feel it through your body and understand, because it will come with things like accepting responsibility, and you start asking yourself, when you really and truly start dealing with the pain, you start asking yourself, because now it's like, I'm responsible for me. I'm responsible for my decisions, right? And there's a skill that most of us, and I'm still working on that, but most of us, and it's one of the hardest skills to learn. Do you know what that skill is?
No.
It's listening.
Yeah, for sure.
Listening. And listening as in not just, we're both talking, but really listening and listening to what somebody is saying and internalizing that. And for me, I do it a lot in introspection. So after, I'll go over a conversation and I'll be like, oh wow, this is what this person, because if you really listen to what people are saying, they tell you exactly what they're saying. But a lot of times, because of the relationship that you have or the vision, the way that you perceive them in your mind, you might miss out on certain things, right? And that's why it's such a hard discipline to learn.
Yeah. That's why I say listen at, not listen to. Because when you listen to, you hear words, but when you
Yes.
listen at, you see the package.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah, Bruce, but I think we had a really good conversation.
Yeah, man, for sure.
And I can't wait to do it again. Yeah, bro, it was good having you on, and anytime you welcome back, bro. So you could plug yourself out if you want to.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me, everybody. Hope you guys doing well. Have a good day, week, month. Much success, strength and love.
Yeah, and I will say this is our 5th episode here, and it's a milestone for me, and I'm really happy that we made it this far.
What? Because you could really see the package. So I bought them for like the cereal packages. No man, that was nice still. Yeah, that was nice.
Okay, guys, so thanks for listening again. This is our 5th episode, and I'm really glad that we could be here. I know our last episode was about mental health and physical health and the connection between both. And one thing that is really important to me is the mental and physical health of people. So I just want to put this out there to know that if you are having issues with mental or physical health, but especially mental health, to reach out to somebody. Talk to a friend. If you can't talk to a friend, talk to someone who you know you could trust, and someone that will help you go through the stuff that you're going through. Take mental health seriously. Understand that we care and we need you to survive. Thanks.